I've read a study from the University of Exeter that if you want seagulls to get out of your way, is just to look them in the eye, make eye contact. Apparently that scares them away. Good morning everyone. I'm here in Brighton and Hove, and it's a very relaxing day, very beautiful day, the south coast of England. I want to take you to Hove, the often forgotten part of Brighton and Hove. You can see there's lots of people out and about today having their Sunday stroll. Here we're just passing the Meeting Place Cafe, which is quite famous here on the seafront, where people can get their coffee and snacks as they stroll a little bit more along the seafront here. But I want to show you this memorial here. It's known as the Peace Statue, informally here in Brighton and Hove, but it's officially known as the King Edward Memorial. So there you can see it's holding an orb and an olive branch, and it was designed by Newbury-Trent. And the reason why this is significant is this is essentially the border between Brighton and Hove. So you got Hove here where the Hove lawns start, and then you've got Brighton on this side. And I know some people are going to say, well, actually this is not the official border. There's a little passage called Boundary Passage where there's a boundary stone, but for all practical purposes this is the border. It's a bit like that football stadium in Brazil where the halfway line is on the equator, and subsequently people have found out that actually the halfway line is not exactly on the equator. But and there you can see Edward VII, 1901 to 1910. So he came onto the throne when Queen Victoria passed away, and he was on the throne for less than a decade, so he passed away in 1910. But he was known as the peacemaker during his reign. He tried to make peace with a lot of European countries, notably France. And from a South African perspective, after the Second Boer War, 1899 to 1902, he played a key part in the reorganization and reshaping of the British Army. The Peace Statue is dedicated to him. This statue was put up here in 1912. It's looking towards the city. Local legend has it that originally it was intended for the statue to face the ocean. Because it's a peace statue, you want to tell people from the ocean and the ships and the people on there that you're at peace. But now, ironically, the angel's backside and bottom are now facing the ocean. So yes, not the ideal message you want to send out to the ocean, I guess. The border of Brighton and Hove with its bottom facing the ocean. And yes, so Brighton and Hove, guys. Brighton and Hove formed a borough in 1997, and I believe 20 years earlier, during Queen Elizabeth II's Silver Jubilee in 1977, Brighton applied to become a city, but they lost out to Derby. But in 2001, after the unification of Brighton and Hove, they applied for city status together, and it was awarded. So the city of Brighton and Hove. And there's a little bit of banter between residents of Brighton and residents of Hove. So because Brighton is known more for its sort of entertainment and party atmosphere, Hove is much more residential and a lot more slower paced. And whenever someone from the outside comes to the city and asks, oh, where in Brighton are you from? And if a person lives in Hove, they would usually respond with, oh, I'm from Hove actually. So the actually after Hove has become, over time, an interesting banter, but also, I guess in a way, for many, signifies that they are different from Brighton. And you can see here, as we'll go and walk around here, there's some really lovely architecture which I'll talk to you more about in a moment. So this is Hove seafront rather than Brighton seafront. And it's quite windy today, which means the ocean is also busy. And we're just looking there towards Brighton. The West Pier, the Palace Pier, and of course the I-360. And here on Hove seafront you get the colourful beach huts, and it does add a bit of a colourful edge to the seafront. And I read a 2021 article about the cost of these beach huts, and apparently if you live in Brighton and Hove, they can be yours for anything between £25,000 and £35,000 plus £416 in rent. So it's a lot of money. You can see some people enjoying their beach huts, and why not on a beautiful day like today? Right guys, let's cross the lawns. I will take you to Brunswick Square and tell you a bit more about the architecture. Over there you can see their Brunswick Terrace. Lots of people out enjoying a walk with their dogs, kicking a football. People in England definitely love their Sunday walks. And why not, before the winter starts, grab the last bit of sun. Cycle paths as well here along the seafront. Here we are at Brunswick Square, and you can see these beautiful Regency style buildings here. So what do I mean by Regency buildings or Regency architecture? Well, it's essentially the architecture that was built in the UK during the time when George IV was the Prince Regent. That was from 1811 to 1820. It also signifies the latter stages of Georgian architecture. Of course, you had the Napoleonic Wars, which cost a lot of money, so wars aren't cheap. And there was very little money actually for architecture development. But there was of course the decisive victory at the Battle of Waterloo, where Napoleon was defeated. And after that there was a huge financial boom. So more architecture got built in England. Apart from a financial boom that resulted, there was also obviously the confidence of people in the country greatly intensified and increased. And so they weren't afraid to splash out on luxury, such as property. In 1824, the architect called Charles Busby collaborated with the landlord here, and they built these houses here. And the first houses were completed in 1826. And Busby, as an architect, let me just turn around here and show you some of those Romanesque columns, as you can see there. So he was quite renowned for including that in his buildings as well. These houses were undoubtedly built for the upper classes. The name Brunswick, taken from the House of Brunswick, which is a term you sometimes hear when people talk about the House of Hanover, British royal family at the time. That's probably an EasyJet flight. Up there, as you can see with the orange tail, there's always a football in parks, people kicking a ball, and just looking back towards the ocean like that, the English Channel. You kind of forget about history and just enjoy the nature. But there's a lot of history in this part of the world, that's for sure. Right guys, so this was Brunswick Square. Let me take you back to the main road, where we'll get to Palmeira Square, another big square here in Hove. We will walk through Palmeira Square, and after that we'll go into the town itself. Yeah, winter came a bit early for these trees, unfortunately, or bushes. Looking back towards Brighton there. Yes, so Adelaide Crescent and Palmeira Square should be just in front here. So in the meantime, just enjoy a bit more of the Regency architecture here, Brunswick Square. Beautiful cream building. You also have basements in many of these properties going down. And you always see scaffolding in Brighton and Hove. Always lots of restoration, further development. There's a dog running around, chasing a ball. And of course the seagulls of Brighton and Hove. This is only a small one, but they are everywhere and they pester the locals and tourists for food. They're not shy to attack people, that's for sure. I've read a study from the University of Exeter that if you want seagulls to get out of your way, is just to look them in the eye, make eye contact. Apparently that scares them away. Let me know if you've tried that before, if it works. And here we've got Adelaide Crescent and Palmeira Square, which we'll go into. But just quickly on Adelaide Crescent, it's named after Queen Adelaide, who was the wife of William IV, and she also of course lent her name to Adelaide in South Australia. Yes, here you can see Adelaide Crescent and Palmeira Square in this neck of the woods. A mid-19th century residential development as well here in Hove. And you can see it's painted white in a contrast to the Brunswick Square architecture with its cream color. And we'll just hop on here and I'll give you an idea of the crescent. Little dog and a picnic, and of course lots of planes that you will see in Brighton and Hove. So obviously there's one and there's another one, and we saw the one with the EasyJet tail earlier. So Brighton and Hove only 30 minutes away from Gatwick Airport by train, and it's only an hour away from the main London terminals on the rail, such as Victoria or London Bridge, maybe a little longer than an hour. But sometimes walking in these parks, even in a busy city like Brighton and Hove, to compare this to an area of London which is an hour away, just the contrast is absolutely huge. So this is Adelaide Crescent, which leads to the seafront. And through here we'll just go to Palmeira Square. Hello! And here we go. Beautiful Palmeira Square. People having an outdoor exercise routine. So mid-19th century buildings these as well. And beautiful flowers in Palmeira Square. And yes, there we have the Floral Clock in Palmeira Square Gardens. So caution wet paint. Let's get over here. And yes, here's the clock. So a lack of flowers because it's not summer quite clearly, but there's still a few around. A better view of the clock here. We are walking towards Hove town, the centre of town. I just want to show you the church in front here called St. John the Baptist Church, built between 1852 and 1854, and it's one of my favorites. It's an Anglican church. It was designed by two brothers, William and Edward Habershon, who designed the church in a decorated Gothic style. They were renowned for that style. And here you start to see some of the shops. And there's a Hove bus going to Angleton. Hove is largely residential, as I mentioned, but you do have many independent shops in the area. Here's a floral stand as well, and interesting architecture everywhere. Yes, St. John's Church, as I mentioned, here on Church Road. Typical residential road here in Hove. We got the county cricket ground in front there. It's actually so nice and quiet, relaxing in this part of town. It's not far away from to the town centre at all. There you go. Very grateful for the beautiful weather today, that's for sure. There's a bus with decorated in the Brighton and Hove football colours. But I'm not here to show you anything about football. I'm here to show you the county cricket ground in front. So I'll see if we could go into the cricket ground. There's no matches today, but sometimes it is open to go and have a bit of a walk. I'll see if I can find the caretaker or someone. This is the oldest county ground in the country. The club was formed in 1839 and the home of the Sussex Sharks. In limited overs cricket, at least, that's their name. You can see there at the bottom, the Sussex Sharks. Let's see if we can go in. You can see, yeah, that's where you'll get your ticket. Tony Gregg's Cafe. The famous commentator and former captain of England. But he was born in South Africa. Yeah, there's no one here, just to give you a view here of the ground. Just through here. There you go, there's a pavilion. And there's a pitch and the ground. Sussex County Cricket Ground. Right, let's go and explore more of Hove. It's dead as disco over here. Right, we are back on Church Road. You can see very cosmopolitan as well. Indian food, Thai restaurant, Oriental market, Italian pizzeria. And here we are on the corner of 2nd Avenue and Church Road. You can see more of the architecture here. The typical Hove style architecture with a faded brick colour. And a few colourful buildings on this side. Latin cuisine there, tapas bar, sightseeing bus passing us. It's a good choice of a sightseeing bus to take this part of Church Road, or include this part of Church Road, because I do love the architecture, and obviously St. John the Baptist Church over there. Sushi bar. I've never been in a sushi bar because I don't like sushi. The Turkish Grill, Istanbul Grill House, Ganges Brasserie, Indian curry, another Indian cuisine place next to it, and some very interesting clothes shops in the area as well. And here on the corner of 3rd Avenue and Church Road, there is this beautiful red brick building. Here you've got Hove Town Hall, built in this brutalist style. This particular building built in 1970 by John Wells IV. We cross the road here. Here you can see Brighton and Hove. And I mentioned early on in the vlog that in 1997 the borough of Brighton and Hove was formed, and it became the city of Brighton and Hove in 2001. So the borough council eventually became the city council. And here you've got a very interesting statue, the Juggler. The Juggler by Helen Collis. Persian cuisine, more Persian cuisine over there. Tapas place. So you're spoiled for choice in terms of restaurants, that's for sure. So what do you think of Hove? Let me know in the comments. I'd like to hear your take on it. Here we've arrived at George Street, the main shopping street here in Hove. And it's going to be very nice and relaxing because it's a Sunday and many places will be closed. So here's the iconic Wetherspoon, the Cliftonville Inn, which I believe is in the process of being shut down. Be a sad day actually. And you've got George Street Tap over here. Several charity shops of course here in George Street. Tanning and beauty salon there. Yeah, lots of normal high street names. You've got Floral Clock there, which I think some sort of official crest, I'm not too sure. Let me know in the comments if you know what it signifies. So here's the Floral Clock again, maybe it's the official seal or emblem of Hove. Look at the shop here, Cake Box. You've got a sweet tooth, that's where you come. More coffee shops, charity shops. East European market. Right, so that was it from George Street. And we've arrived at St Anne's Well Gardens. And let's go and explore. There's a little coffee shop as well here in the gardens. So in this case, the name St Anne does not refer to a saint, but instead it refers to the myth of Anna Frieda, a Saxon lady whose lover was murdered, and her tears subsequently became an iron-bearing spring, which is today called St Anne's Well. And there's a little squirrel. Let's see if we can get closer. There you go, yeah. Jumping on the tree. And yes, this is a very nice area to come and sit and relax. Oh, another squirrel. Come and watch the squirrels. They're not camera shy. And apparently they're not shy jumping onto people as well, so I probably need to be careful. And not just squirrels, but also pigeons. Here in the garden. Obviously the trees starting to lose their leaves. And benches in the park. Most of them are dedicated to people. And this one, Peter Graves. Missed by your wife and children, more than we can put into words. And more people enjoying the gardens. If you're a bird lover, you can certainly come here and see some of the species. And here we are approaching St Anne's Well, the iron-bearing spring, the Tears of Anna Frieda, and unfortunately this is now cemented over, but you can read a bit more about the history here. So you can see there, this decorative well marks the site of a pump house which was used to extract spring water, with a long reputation of health enhancing properties. It was recommended as a tonic by Dr. Richard Russell, and St Anne's Well was developed as a small but important spa. Yes guys, this is also where I'll end my video. I hope you enjoyed this tour of Hove, the often forgotten part of Brighton and Hove. If you haven't done so yet, hit that subscribe button, and if you'd like to find out more about Brighton, watch the video over here. Thanks for watching my videos, and I'll see you again soon.